Hi everyone, it's Soul Coach Michelle here, and today I'm talking to Alicia, and we're going to talk about the Manifest Your Dream Life program and her experiences in it. And I'm so grateful and thankful that you're here today with me, Alicia. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. I always like to ask people, let people know who you are and what you do.
So my name's Alicia Mastrangelo. I live in the smallest state in the Union. I'm in Rhode Island. I own a wellness business, which has a couple of different components. Wellness products. I'm a Reiki master teacher. I do some oracle card readings, and then I also make some crystal bracelets that I infuse with Reiki energy.
Yes, and I've seen them and they're gorgeous.
Thank
Love
you.
them.
Thank you.
So I guess, how did you discover the program and my coaching and just come into the Soul Coach family?
So we are in a Facebook group together that's run by somebody else, and I just happened to stumble across a post for an offer that you were doing for readings. And there was just something about your picture and the post, and it was like it glowed almost. And I was like, I think I need to see what she's all about. And so I ended up taking advantage of the offer that you had out there, and I had a reading with you, and I felt like I had known you forever. And so, just from there, everything seemed to click. And, I've been on my own journey with all of this stuff. And so we started talking about everything else that you offer, and timing wise, you were having this program. And so I was like, all right, things are lining up the way that I think that they should. So, it's time.
Awesome. And what about this program made you choose it over, say, other people's programs?
You.
See, I'm like, what is the je ne sais quoi?
No, like I really, because I think, we had such a connection when we were doing the reading, and you're so down to earth, and I just felt like you would make things accessible. I think some coaches and woo folk are too conceptual, and they're too kind of up here with everything in their language, and you're normal. Like, well,
no kidding.
It's a flexible definition, just like for me. But it's you put things in practical perspective, and you're very down to earth, and yes, you're woo, but on the same wavelength of woo as me. So it just seemed like a natural fit to give your program a try.
So I guess thinking back when we were first talking, because we did the reading and then we did, like, I always like to chat with people, in a quick little chat before they join any of my stuff, just because that way we make sure it's a good fit. I'd rather, I could take your money, but if my goal as a coach is to help people, it doesn't help you just to be like, yeah, go do this. Yeah,
Right.
buy that, whatever, which is why I feel this is such a high touch course. It's not like you and I are talking and people will see this and then people will join the manifesting school that I run beforehand, and I disappear after they click the buy now button. It's,
right.
We're super high touch. We meet once a week. There's one-on-ones involved. And as part of that is that Let's Talk session. And when we were talking in that session, do you recall any obstacles you may have had that you had to think about before making a decision to coming into the program? And if you did, what were they and how did you overcome them?
I would say for me, the only obstacle was the cost. As a relatively new solopreneur, the price tag was a little bit high for me at the time. but everything else lined up, and I just knew that it was the right thing to do. And so, you know, I've been working through my old wiring around money and that sort of stuff. And, you know, I just kept thinking back to some of the personal development books and podcasts and things where, you know, they just say invest in yourself, and whatever you can do to get coaches and mentoring and take the classes, and you know, just, it's worth the investment. So look past the price tag if you know in your heart that that's what you need. And so really that was the only obstacle for me, because, you know, like I said, personality wise, the content of the course, you know, offering that kind of, not really hand-holding, but hand-holding aspect, to not just like, here's a bunch of stuff to do, go do it, and I'll catch up with you in 2 months kind of thing. So yeah, so it was really just me getting over my own block around spending money. But then, you know, I had a heart to heart with myself and said, you know, this is what you need to do. So just do it.
And in making the decision, what have you seen come out of that, in that investment in yourself in the course as you've gone through it? What are some of the things that, or maybe the biggest thing that you've discovered and unfolded around?
I think it's been a lot of self-discovery. Obviously, you know, working on my money blocks and worthiness blocks, and kind of being able to do that self-evaluation of like, well, this is how I've always been, and I just never really thought about why. And having practical ways to move past that is worth the price of admission for sure. You know, and I think it's I've discovered things that I didn't really even think were blocks, and ways to move past those too. So I think it's just been awesome to be able to kind of chip away at those old walls and, you know, make room for the new.
And what are some other benefits? Like, what are three, maybe think about, what are three really great benefits of being in the program that you find that you love?
I like that we meet regularly, so there's that accountability factor. I like that it's a no judgment zone. So there's a lot of vulnerability that goes along with doing this kind of work. And that has always been difficult for me, but I find the environment is so supportive that it's okay. And I think just cultivating the relationships with you and with the other folks that are taking the course, and realizing that you're not alone, and like, you know, yes, you're unique, but you're not unique in your challenges, and it's okay and it's normal, and we'll fix it. So.
Yeah. And I keep looking down because I have my notes. Well, in the spirit of true authenticity and transparency, just so I'm not like, and how have you how has the program helped you manifest some goals, whether they be personal or business wise, financial? What have you seen happen for yourself?
So, you know, thus far I've seen a lot of I would say smaller wins, but I think that for me, I need all of that smaller stuff before I can get the bigger stuff, because I had so much crap to work through. But I think for me, like, one of the biggest wins is just being so much more aware of stuff, and really changing my lens of how I look at things and how I look at the world, and being able to focus on the good and the positive and all of those things that go along with abundance that maybe aren't necessarily money related. You know, like friendships I've made, or getting the best parking spot in the parking lot, or, you know, checking out in line and there is no line and I get to, you know, breeze right through. So it's all of those things. And I find, you know, since we've been working together, those things happen way more frequently than they ever used to before. So I know it's just, things are starting to come into alignment to just kind of pave the way for all of the other things. So
Yeah. And so when you think about your practices and your personal perspective, I guess, on law of attraction and metaphysics in general, was the course aligned with your belief system? And did that help with your studies, so to speak?
yeah, I would say so. I mean, it's, law of attraction and manifestation has always interested me. But I always kind of stumbled with the how, because everybody's like, listen, if one more person tells me just raise your vibe and everything will be fine, I might end up actually punching them, which is like the opposite of what you're supposed to be doing. But it's frustrating, when you want to kind of take it to the next level and people give you, very general answers to things. And so I find, I'm aligned with the concept and I get it and it makes sense to me, but having that component of what to do, like tell me what to actually do in order to make this a reality, that's the bow on the present for sure.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm just going through my notes. So if you were talking to somebody who's on the fence, like, and a lot of times people are like, do I have the time? Do I have the money? All that kind of stuff. But it sounds really great. Everybody's saying Michelle's a good teacher. This is a great course. I'm really at that pain point of a 10 where it's like, I'm sick. Like you just said, I'm sick and tired of people just telling me, raise my stinking vibe and not telling me how. It's like, go cuddle your pet. Well, that doesn't help me with my boss, who's a jerk. Whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, which, not saying cuddling your pet is bad. I love my bud and I cuddle him all the time. But
right.
there's different ways to apply things.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you were talking with that person who maybe was you 2 months ago, what would you tell them about the course to help them make their decision?
I would just tell them to go for it, because so much good has come out of it for me. I would tell them to put their reservations aside and just jump in. And I think people can get overwhelmed of the idea of doing a course because they're like, oh my God, I don't have time to do the stuff I need to do. How am I going to do this? And I just find that having the course paced the way that it is, it's not overwhelming. You can fit it in, because you're not asking us to write a thesis every week on stuff.
I was gonna add no.
Yes, then no, I'm out. But the practical stuff is not overwhelmingly time consuming, but it's very valuable. And then, having that connection, with the other folks. And I mean, I would just say, just try it, because I think the investment overall is small compared to the gains. And so, yes, it's money, yes, it's time, but that's a drop in the bucket compared to what you're going to get out of it. And your outlook on life is going to change. Your outlook on your circumstances is going to change. You're going to just be so much more open to everything the universe has been trying to give you, but they haven't been able to because you're like, la 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 la, I don't have time to hear you.
And as you kind of wrap up your experience, you already are part of our alumni group. And the reason that came to be, because you were in cycle 3, and so two groups come before you, and those 2 groups actually were like, well, what now? And I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So what came out of that was the alumni group that everybody has the option of rolling into at the end of their program. And so you've kind of gotten a taste of that. And in that group, we continue with the learning and continue I think it's a bi-week. I don't know what the phrasing is. It's every other week in the month. I think it's the second and fourth one of the
Yep.
days of the month. Is that something that you value? Is that something you're looking forward to really experiencing? And are you glad that it's there? I mean, or would you prefer to just be like, okay, bye?
Yeah, no, I definitely appreciate that, because I feel like it's a continuation of the feeling of the program, because everybody is so welcoming and supportive, and again, it's a place that you can be vulnerable and you can ask for support. But it's also great because it's a place that you can give support. And I feel like sometimes we learn our best lessons when we're giving support to other people. And so having that kind of extra space that's more secured because it's just us, I think is awesome. Because some of the larger Facebook groups, you can get kind of lost in the shuffle a little bit, and you may not necessarily get out of it what you would like. So, I love the idea of that smaller group, and then us just continuing to learn with each other.
Yeah. And now we're kind of down to the end. And so I wanted to make sure, we've kind of talked about a lot of stuff. And is there anything else you want to tell anybody that I've not, said, here are all the questions that we've not touched on that you want to share with people about your experience, about the course, about the alumni group, about, working with me or anything like that?
I mean, I'm so grateful that our paths have crossed, because, I just feel like you have so much to offer, and because you have talents in many areas, being a coach, being an intuitive, I think that you can help people on a variety of levels. So I think that's great too, because I feel like other coaches I've interacted with are very one-dimensional, and you offer so much more than that. But I would just tell people, like, if you're looking for a supportive place and a supportive person, to definitely just go for it, because it's completely worth it, and no regrets on this end for sure.
And thank you I'm so grateful that our paths have crossed too, because I feel like you're my sister from another mistus on so many occasions.
Yeah, for sure.
And I am so honored that you chose to work with me and allowed me in your journey and allowed me to continue with you on your journey. And I just am so honored, especially with you and everybody else. And it's just, I'm honored I get to do what I love to do and to support people the way that they need and the way that they want. And that y'all are just flourishing and unfolding, and I get to be a witness to all of it. Yay.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
I thank you so much for being here with me and sharing your story. So I'm going to say namaste.
Namaste.
Me, honor, Salette, and you. And I guess I'll see you in group later.
Yes. Yes, I will.
I'll see you guys later. Thank you so much for joining me today, Alicia. And namaste again. Bye.
My pleasure. Bye.